When one thinks about Tennessee law, usually the first thing that comes to mind is the Scopes trial, also known as the Scopes monkey trial of the 1920s. It was a famous trial that took place in Dayton, Tennessee, and showed the major conflict between science and religion. In early 1925, a law called the Butler Act was passed that prohibited the teaching of any theory that denies the story of the divine creation of man as taught in the Bible. Of course, evolution fell into this category. Knowing that his action would cause a controversy, John Scopes, a young teacher in Dayton, purposefully violated the law by teaching his students the theory of evolution in order to attract attention to Dayton, which at the time was a very small town and needed business. It'd be an understatement to say that Scopes' plan worked, because the case proved to be quite the controversy indeed. Dayton was swarmed by journalists from all over America and even England trying to cover the case. In it, William Jennings Bryan prosecuted Scopes, who was defended by Clarence Darrow. The trial was not so much about Scopes' teaching of evolution as it was the constitutionality of the Butler Act, which Darrow argued violated the idea of separation of church and state in the First Amendment. However, on July 21st, the jury found Scopes guilty, and he was fined $100. An appeal to the Supreme Court of Tennessee was made, arguing on Scopes' right to free speech and on terms in the Tennessee state constitution, though the attempt was shot down. Though the Butler Act was not found to be unconstitutional, the trial was successful in bringing much attention to Dayton and to evolution being taught in public schools. The Scopes trial by no means ended the debate over the teaching of evolution. It did, however, mark a significant setback for anti-evolutionists. Though many of them tried to push evolution out of classrooms, the public looked down upon their mainly religious motives, and much support for the teaching of evolution came as a result of all the attention garnered by the trial. Eventually, evolution began to be taught again, as the public preferred to have scientific consensus, not religion, decide what should and shouldn't be taught in classrooms to further education. Accordingly, the Butler Act was finally repealed in 1967. Today, there is a Scopes Museum located in the basement of the old courthouse in Dayton, where you can see the courtroom exactly the way it looked back in 1925. A play called Inherit the Wind is loosely based on the events of the Scopes trial, and it later became a popular movie of the same name.